Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. My guest this morning, in studio, got Mr. Smart, Oluwole-Apejoye, Political Affairs Analyst. As always, thank you for coming on. And compliments of the season.
Yes, thank you.
Even though it was February, but nevertheless.
I shall be ready.
As soon as I can get hold of Dr. Ajibola Bashiru, who is also joining us this morning so kindly via Zoom. He's the spokesman of the Nigerian Senate. He's the senator representing Osun Central. And by the way, former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Osun State. Senator Bashiru, are you still with us? Not yet.
Yes, I'm with you.
There you are. Aha, good morning, Senator.
Yeah, good morning, Yori.
And compliments of the season to you.
Yeah, I wish you same.
Yeah, nice. Oh, so we can start off then. Of course, you know, the news, of course, is hearing that the bill, the Electoral Act, has been, forwarded back to the president. Well, in fact, the way the legal language used by the National Assembly is transmitted, that it has been transmitted. The amended electoral bill has been transmitted to President Buhari for assent. President Buhari had said in the past that if you want me to sign, remove, add consensus, add indirect primaries. Can we take it that the president's requests have now been complied with?
I think I will not actually talk about compliance or otherwise of the president's request, but just as I told the media, one of the options available to us is to look at the letter of Mr. President, a 39-paragraph letter, and see whether majority of the members will be convinced to look at the contentious provision of Section 85. So both the leadership and the members of the National Assembly felt that there are so many laudable provisions in the Electoral Act beyond the contentious issue of direct primary. And it is felt that we should not go by way of the previous sessions of the National Assembly, whereby because of one or two issues, all the other provisions capable of entrenching fair and fair election will be jeopardized. I think it's on that basis that it was agreed to amend that section 84, 85, and then have provisions for direct, indirect primary. And in addition, even though not in the previous section 87, add the issue of consensus. So we hope that Mr. President will assent to the bill timeously so that it can be useful for the 2023 general election.
Maybe could you clear the air? It appears, according to news reports, that there were a couple of versions of the amendment. So can we take it for granted now that
there's no couple of fashion to amendment? It's unfortunate that some civil society organization, and I say this with all sense of responsibility, apparently to justify that they are doing work to their funders, came up with a red herring to say that there were cross-referencing and issues in the electoral bill forwarded to the president. In the old 39-paragraph letter that the president wrote to the National Assembly, there was no mention of such allegation. And secondly, to I'm a legal practitioner, for you to speak and make comment on a document emanating from public institution, it must be a certified true copy of that document. And that was why I challenged those people at a town hall made to show what version of the electoral bill were they referring to, having the issues they were referring to, and whether that bill that they were referring to was the authenticated bill emanating from the National Assembly and duly certified to be the true copy. So when you are dealing with public documents, you cannot, for instance, go and print a document and claim that it's from National Assembly. Provision of Evidence Act is very clear. The document must be certified and certified to be true copy by by the officer in custody of such public document. And when the bill is being assented to, they will be gazetted. They will now have and the authenticated version of that document that you can tender in the law court and refer to in the law court will be the gazetted version. So I was disturbed when individuals begin to say that they spotted error on the document that they could not justify that it emanated directly from the authority of the National Assembly. And I also find it very irksome that some people were saying that electoral bill that was done was shoddy, because if it had been shoddy, even civil society organizations and all other interested parties would not be nudging the National Assembly not to allow the controversy of the direct primary to affect assent and utilization of the bill. The truth is that the 2021 bill, which is now being transmitted back to the president, contain innovation provision that address problem of proper accreditation and conduct of election, and particularly even in the area of election petition. So I believe that rather than just raise red herring, there's a need to come with genuine, verifiable, and cogent reasoning if you want to even criticize the National Assembly. We are not averse to criticism. It's part of democratic process, but it must be based on genuine reasons and authenticated version of the documents.
Okay. All right then. One moment, Senator. Smart. In terms of, well, first of all, the National Assembly dealt with the bill as it is there preserved to do and sent it to the president. Now the president, again, as is his privilege, scanned it and found that there were areas that would prevent him from indeed assenting to the bill and turning it into law. Now that it's been amended again and sent back to the president, what difference do you think this is going to make? Because all of this is supposed to, make
our election.
Yes, make the whole system a lot more seamless. Do you think this is, how much of a big deal do you think it is? I guess that's the way to put it.
First, in the first place, in Nigeria, we like making so much of noise from where that should not attract noise in the first place. Now, going by the existing law, have we not been having good elections? Have we not been having credible elections? I don't see anything wrong even in the present system as it is being operated. The constitution is very clear as to the responsibility of INEC. INEC shall conduct election to the best way they deem fit. And again, we have INEC representatives from all over the states of the country. They come together, even though it is Mr. President that appoints them. It is assumed that Mr. President have appointed them based on their pedigree. So if they are there, we should allow them to do their job. And the Constitution so give them the sole power to run the election the way they deem fit. And they've been doing well. And again, INEC have been a work in progress. But however, coming to this aspect, this electoral bill, whatever, that has generated so much noise, in the first place, I'm in support of Mr. President not ascending to the bill at first. Because democracy gives you varieties. When you now bust the political parties to a corner that you must only have, your candidate must only emerge this way. Even when they sent it, I said, Mr. President read my mind and I said, I think it was on this video. I said, well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not in support of this thing that they've sent to Mr. President. That Nigerians should have, various parties should have their way of appointing their whoever bears their flag bearer. If you are making it just one way, it will bring chaos. Okay. And again, good, Mr. President made it clear and brought out my fear and said, look, let's throw it open. Democracy is about varieties.
Senator Bashiru, can I therefore conclude that the National Assembly must have seen its way to that conclusion? That is, Mr. President's, at least one of the reasons he's put out there is that it would be too taxing for some people. Whereas other people felt that, look, if this is the only way in which it can be done, then everybody will rise to the occasion and and do it. But you and I know that there are other interpretations out there as to the reason that it was specified that only direct primaries shall be the accepted way of doing it. So Mr. President saying that that would cut too many people out. How come the National Assembly didn't see it like this, if indeed they agree with Mr. President?
I will first need to address, for purpose of educating the public, that your commentator appear not to understand, and with respect to him, the essence of Electoral Act, and that the National Assembly has the power by constitution, the same constitution I refer to, gave INEC power to conduct election. By item 22 of the exclusive legislative list, the National Assembly has the power to make law with respect to the conduct of the election to the offices of the President, Vice President, Governor, Deputy Governor, and any other offices under the Constitution. So to say that there is no need for National Assembly to make law, I think that is not in line with the Constitution. And to say that the independence of INEC, whatever that may mean, pretend that they can just decide on the mode of conduct of any election, I think that is also preposterous. And also, to say that there is no need to amend the law also show a possible lack of follow-up on what has happened under the extant Electoral Act. If your commentator is abreast of decision in Peterside and Wike, which is about the recognition or otherwise of the card reader under the electoral law, the issue in that case was whether card accreditation using card reader is part of the process for which an election can be determined to have been conducted fairly. Supreme Court said card reader was introduced by way of guideline, and therefore they cannot be reckoned with as part of substantial non-compliance with the Electoral Act. What this new bill had done is now to recognize smart card reader and any other technological device that may be used for the purpose of identification and accreditation. Similarly, overvoting has been an issue in our law court, by which the extant section 45 of the Electoral Act is reckoning accreditation, overvoting in the basis of the number of voters on the register. This, because there are always residual voters in the register, has made the provision to lie by it, and this has been amended. This and several other provisions, particularly nullification of results because of exclusion of candidates, has given a lot of problem in nullifying well-conducted election, even by political parties that have no showing. So there are so many other areas of reform that have been introduced with a view to ensuring that the lacuna under the existing law have been done. And on the issue of direct or no direct primary, I will say that there is no hard and fast rule as to how a position should be in a democratic society. We're in a plural society, and therefore there are different ideas and perspectives as to how things have been done. The reason for the National Assembly to consider direct primary in the first instance was because the indirect primary had become a cesspool of corruption and undermined internal democracy, that the existing provision of Section 87 had to be addressed. But we are not going to engage in muscle flexing with anybody, and that is why we felt that because of other germane, relevant and important provisions of the bill, we could send back the bill. Let the processes of direct, indirect, and consensus be there. Mind you, even under the existing law, there is no provision for consensus, but we have bent back forward in the interest of ensuring that those other reforms that I've mentioned don't get swept away by controversy over direct or indirect primary. Whether direct primary is the best, whether it's undermine democratic right of choices, are matters that are debatable.
Okay, Smart, again, taking some of the things the senator said about their concept of why they especially as it relates to the matter of direct or indirect or consensus, or to paraphrase him, the indirect primaries will seem to be a cesspool of corruption, but by the president's action, clearly he doesn't see it like that, or there are mitigating factors.
Once again, I'm saying this and I'm saying it again, that only giving one option for which party candidates will emerge is not democratic.
How about the corruption aspect of it?
Well, I don't know about the corruption aspect. All over, in the first place, corruption has become part of the process of candidates emerging. It has become, and there's nothing they can do about it. In the first place, why I say corruption is that it involves a lot of money. You can't just wake up today and say, look, yes, I think I can deliver, I can do this, I'm interested in this, I want to go to this party. You see them throwing, you must have a lot of money. One day a candidate came out and said when he wanted to contest, they said he should go and bring 2.something billion. And he said, wait a minute, I'm a lawyer of over this. I've not even seen that money in my life. I've even not even seen a quarter of that amount in my life. You now say because I'm bringing myself for a public service, I should go and bring so amount to do what? Say if that's the case, hold on, I'm not interested. And again, of course, the party brought up a candidate. That means the candidate that would have emerged perhaps must have spent such money. There is no way you can take corruption out of this Nigerian process. The way candidates emerge, there is no way.
Well, there should be.
No, that's a simple truth. Ordinarily,
I've heard what you said. Are you not? Don't you think that the National Assembly is obliged to attempt to address this
it even makes
widely
it more expensive
known issue, which you have just pointed out?
It makes it more expensive. In the first place, if I have to imagine now, that means we'll go and start from the ward election. That means all the party members in the ward must have a vote. Do we really have registered for at our wards? Do we really have it? Now, sometimes they did an election process, this registration process for a party. After doing that process, they now said again they are revalidating. That you should go and revalidate your this thing. In the first place, it does not make sense, because as far as I'm concerned, I should be able to wake up today and say I want to join Party A. And if I'm tired of Party A, if I feel my ideology is not going with Party A, I should be able to cross to Party B. So if I'm going to do that, you're asking me to revalidate. So they have created the process at which our candidates emerge is so monetized. And if you are very brilliant with brilliant ideas, you don't have money, sorry, you cannot emerge. So them trying to say they want to wipe out corruption by starting it from the ward is making it more expensive. Now it is open. Let every party come up with the way they deem fit. That is fair enough. We could just say, okay, it is consensus candidate. We just say, oh, Yori Folani is vying.
Why do people like to use me as an example?
So Yori Folani
you didn't say smart. You didn't say smart Apejoye is vying.
Because my friend. Yori Folani is vying, and because Yori Folani is vying, because I know Yori Folani has a pedigree, starting from his days when I've known him, I said, look, I think I'll throw my cap and just say, I'm campaigning for Yori. Say, is that same Yori? Blah, 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 blah. And people they can see your pedigree. They just say, okay, let's give him. But today in Nigerian politics, it's not like that. It has to be with money. They say, okay, go and start from the primaries, go and start from the ward. It is expensive. So, in as much as money has become part of Nigerian politics,
quite frankly, politics anywhere in the world, I would wager.
Yeah, of course. But then in Nigeria, it's more pronounced.
Okay.
It is more pronounced that even to become a councillor, if you don't have close to 20 million or 10 million, least 10 million, you cannot emerge, even as a councillor, because the party themselves, they've made it difficult. They will tell you to go and pick up a form for 350,000.
Okay. Senator, now that the bill is on the president's desk again, it's been transmitted. I don't know if it's relevant or important that this whole matter about transmission and all of that. Does it just mean that somebody just pressed a button, the clerk of the National Assembly pressed a button and, faxed or emailed or maybe you guys are right with the word transmitted, just the way you send an email, sent it to him. But what I really wanted to ask is, when do you expect to hear from Mr. President one way or another? I realize the picture has gone, but perhaps you can hear me still. Are there statutory guidelines for when Mr. President must come back to you? Because again, people reading it elementarily in school know that
within 30 days, I think.
Oh, okay. While we're trying to get Senator Ajibola back, Mr. Mohammed in Abuja. Good morning, sir.
Okay, how are you?
Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this privilege.
Yeah.
I just want to ask the senator, please, I need him to clarify transmission and then transfer of the election. Do they include server or do they include anything concerning transmission or of election that can now, they will transmit election from where they are doing voting directly from the card reader to the server, or what do they mean by transmission? I want you to expatiate, to explain more about that.
Okay.
Because we were confused. Many people are talking about transmission, some are talking of transfer.
Yes.
And in some places, even now, you are now battling with the connection problem to get the senator now. How can that work in Nigeria? I want to know more.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in, Mohammed. But that transmission was, in fact, I was saying that, well, the law generally, the law, and then also the National Assembly that makes laws, all these legalisms will be in there. Maybe they could just have said, has been sent to the president.
Thank you for
but instead of just saying simply, has been sent, the re-amended bill has been sent to the president. We're dealing with the old order, you know. There is a way in which all these things are done. Doctors have their language, pharmacists have their language. I guess legislators also and lawyers in courts, they also have their own language too. So I don't think transmission in this sense, we'll wait for Senator Ajibola to come back on and confirm or deny. I don't think transmission in this sense has anything to do with the transmission we were talking about in elections, where I brought my own, you know, talk about, where immediately from one place, simply by sending it electronically, almost in real time, it lands halfway across the world or across the country, as the case may be. And in this instance, talking about this law, the bill was simply sent to Mr. President, never mind the transmitted bit. Let me see Femi in Rivers. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Femi in Rivers. Did I get that right? Is it Femi calling in from River State?
Hello, Femi from River State, yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead. You're on air right now.
Okay. So, I disagree with the guest that they... good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Please continue.
And good morning to your guest.
Indeed.
I disagree with your guest. Yes. Yes, Femi calling from River State. Yeah, I disagree in totality. The direct primary is the cheapest for anybody because you cannot influence it. So you just, this is a primary. If even like now, I don't know my local government can, because in that if we have a direct primary, we know the people who are good in the society. We know the people who are good in the society, and we don't need their money to vote for them. But when you allow all this money back, those who to bring their money which they are stolen to hijack the election process, it gives us a lot of problems. So the thing, the only thing which I would like us to look at in that our electoral listing is that when there's one thing, they say registered voters. Who are the registered voters? Those are the only people who can vote. Those who can vote are the people who have PVC. But when you get to the court, they will now say 120,000 registered voters, but those who have, are they the people who can vote? That thing should be looked into. Those who have PVC should be the electoral basis of those who are entitled to vote, and those are the registered voters. Then the issue of putting direct, indirect, and consensus. We know Nigeria. We know Nigeria that this party big win. They will adjust it and tell you that they have arrived at the consensus. If there is a consensus, let all the candidates say yes, sign, and put their fingerprint that yes, they agree to a consensus. If they are going to do indirect primary, the majority should agree that yes, they are going to do indirect primary and put their hand on the fingerprint, not signature. They can put signature. We know who we are, and we have to work towards making it very successful.
So what you're saying, Femi, is that you think the National Assembly got it right the first time?
I'm hearing you.
I was asking if you are therefore saying that, as far as you are concerned, the National Assembly got it right the first time, and you, quite frankly, are...
No. What they did now, that is agree to the direct and indirect. No problem. No problem.
No problem. Okay.
No problem. But the problem here is that the process should be transparent. If they are going to have, if they are going to agree on consensus, if they are going to agree on consensus, let all of them put their finger on it that they agreed on consensus. If they are going to do indirect primary, let all of them agree that they are going to, majority agree that they are going to do indirect primary. If that one is not successful, they should go straight to direct primary.
All right then. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your call, and telling us your views. Senator Bashiru, it's good to have you back. While the network, temporarily imposed a moratorium on your time on the program, somebody called in. Yeah. Mohammed called in from, I think it was Abuja, and he was saying, you people are using the word transmission. There was a time when the word was in currency with the with INEC, transmitting results in election. Has the National Assembly become involved? So I gave my own 2 bits while you were away, that transmission in this case means no more than simply sent to the president. But I said we'll wait for Senator Bashiru to come on and tell us how was it transmitted, and what is transmission all about?
I think it's a technical word of legislative process in the National Assembly. When the bill has been passed, then it is said that it will be transmitted to the president, and that is just the word it is. It's a term of art that is used in the National Assembly. But I think it's also important for me to make some intervention based on what Mr. Smart has said here. I don't know his friend that was asked to bring 2.5 billion. Well, I'm not doubting it, but I know that I don't have 1 billion, I don't have 500 million, I don't even have 200 million naira, and I'm a member of the National Assembly. I think we come with certain start points that we what we call fallacy of asset generalization in terms of engagement in political process. Then I also speaking for my own political party, the All Progressive Congress. I know we have certified and authentic list of members of our party in every ward, and every member so register also have slip by which proper accreditation can be done for direct primary. If you give me your email, I will send to you the registered member of my party in Ward 7, Alagba, Osogbo local government, where I come from. So I find it rather strange that even organizations that are just for social activity, they have register of member. The highest level of organization in any society is a political party. And what do I mean? A political party is a group of people that want to take over government of a society to carry out certain program. If such organization cannot have verifiable member of register, and then we will now be supporting to say because they don't have register of member, we should not do direct primary. I think it's just to give excuse. So I don't know of any other political party. Okay,
one moment, Senator. One moment. I beg your pardon, because Ikechukwu in Enugu has been holding on for a long while. Sorry, Senator. Let me bring in Ikechukwu in Enugu. Thank you very much for holding on all that while, Ikechukwu.
Okay, my name is Okechukwu, not
Okechukwu. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Please go on. Go ahead, Okechukwu.
Right, good morning, Uncle Yemi.
Good morning, sir.
And to the guest and the senator.
Okay.
Well, what I want to bring in here is this. What the National Assembly did initially was quite germane. It was quite okay, because the National Assembly are the representative of the people. By the first bill they sent to the president was actually the demands of the people. That was a populist bill. Let me look at it this way. The National Assembly is there to checkmate the executive, the excesses of the executive. They don't have the mandate to enforce things, but they can make law. The executive will do it. When the executive now to shift from making the laws and properly enforcing it, that's turned out to be a dictatorship. That was actually because your guest there is saying something about varieties being what democracy is all about. I don't agree with that. Because if you say that if you use other methods to win election, that you have to go to election, have to go through pre-processing, that is variety. No, that's what not democracy is all about. Democracy is about doing the right thing. These are the populist ideas. But the National Assembly didn't have the capacity to go all the way by vetoing the president, and they still want to accommodate the president's wishes. Because actually they want to checkmate the governors because they are becoming like empire. So we have to be careful about how we do things, because the people are not happy. No matter what is going on, the president might sign this, but that is not actually what the people want.
Okay.
That is my humble opinion.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Okechukwu, calling in from Enugu. Interesting point he makes there that the National Assembly actually is the voice of the people. It is representing us, and yes. Therefore, as far as he is concerned, the National Assembly got it right first. Most people were happy with it, and his own humble opinion is that this is a mistake. But you're going to come back on that, and I want you to. But I got to go on a quick break. Please stay with us. We'll come back and continue receiving your calls. Well, welcome back, and we're looking at the bill being sent to the president from the National Assembly. For the second time, because the president had declined assent late last year, and so now it's been worked upon in line with Mr. President's comments, perhaps. But recall that the president, just looking at one news story here, the president withheld assent to the bill in November last year, citing cost of conducting direct primary elections, security challenges, and possible manipulation of electoral processes by political figures, a factor that Senator Bashiru himself has referred to as the reasons for his decision. The big senator, the big question or point of this whole matter is that it's very expensive. At least the president thinks that it's quite expensive. And then we've also heard that if it's going to be true democracy, then there must be a number of roads into the market, so to speak, if democracy were a market. You can't have just the one road. Let people approach as they seem fit. There are those who say that the position of the Senate was closer to this the first time around. But now, well, Mr. President's, his opinions can be thrown out anyhow. And so it looks like this compliance, trying to comply with what Mr. President is saying, there are a lot of people that won't agree with it, and including, well, I was going to say including SMART, but SMART is in agreement. But other people have called in while you were away to say that if it were up to us, the National Assembly got it right. But in any case, the deed is done. You've transmitted it. There are no regrets, right?
Yes, I told you, Yori, the way our mind works is that we cannot, because of controversy on a section in 185 or 187 section law, then throw the baby away with the bathwater. Then on the various arguments that have been canvassed, you see, the essence of democracy is plurality of ideas. One idea, just like we are talking now, and I will say this is the correct one to be done. Another person in a democratic setting will say that is not the correct way to be done. And that is actually the essence of pluralism that's underpin a democratic society. But what I want to say is that if it's about making argumentation, plausible arguments one way or the other, some of the reasons with respect advanced by Mr. President will not suffice. And I will take, for instance, the issue of security. Now that we have adopted direct, indirect, and consensus, who says that the problem of insecurity in the country has been taken away? And if we extend the argument of insecurity to its logical conclusion, it will mean that as well, we may say that we will not hold the election in the country, which is going to now be held on a unit-by-unit basis on account of security. Then on the account of the cost of conducting, the primary, with respect, and I say it with all sense of responsibility, democracy and democratic experience all over the world has never been a cheap experience. even in terms of logistic requirements to conduct an election, are we going to say that because INEC will have to conduct election with XYZ billions of naira, then we should go, for autocratic, government, or we should go back to monarchy? No, that's not the issue. Financing is a challenge. Then when you now know that this is a challenge, then you look for factors to mitigate that challenge. In any event, there's nothing that says that the direct Congress, direct primary should be held at what basis. Some political parties may decide to hold their own on a local government basis or hold it on the state basis. Like, for instance, the provision of consensus that have been put in the bill that have been transferred to the president. What was provided is that even when all candidates are withdrawn in writing, that they are agreed to consensus and they are agreed to a particular aspirant, there must still be a special convention to ratify that decision so as to make it to have the primature of acceptance and democratic credence that is necessary for that candidate to emerge as a candidate of the party. So either way, indirect or consensus, you will need to spend some form of money in that regard. But I also say with respect that at times some of these costs are exaggerated. Some costs are necessarily incidental to the purpose of realizing what you want to do. And I will give an example of my senatorial district. My senatorial district has 10 local governments, 134 political wards, and about 1,120 polling units. If I have to put agents for the purpose of monitoring even my general election here, and will have to give them some form of stipends, of course it will be some cost. But the question is that, should I be the one to bear the cost? Should it be my political party, or should it be some individuals and friends who believe in the idea? That cannot be a question of how you source for funds. In United States of America, where democracy is advanced, we have a lot of activity and fora by which candidates and aspirants source for funds. So the question of funding is a different entirely from having a system that is unassailable and genuinely recognize democratic aspiration of our people. Okay. The idea embedded in direct primary is that owners of the party should take the ownership of the party in terms of who represent them at that level. If you go and research into what has gone into this indirect primary, you will know that it is more of a kind of some people have a slogan that vote and buy land or vote and buy car. Is that not more expensive than allowing each and every member of the party to have a say in who represent and carry the banner of the party? And I will say, in 2018, in my state, direct primary was used. Just a week ago in Ekiti, direct primary had been adopted, and I'm quite sure that in Osun, primary for the 2022 is likely going to be direct primary.
Okay, one moment, please, Senator. I beg your pardon, Senator, for interrupting you. One moment, but I do have Reverend Dominic on the line, and he's been waiting for quite a while. Apologies, Reverend Dominic, but I was looking for a convenient place to, interrupt the senator because he was putting out some stuff for us. Once more, please go ahead now, Reverend.
Good morning, Yori.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guests in the studio, and good morning to the senator.
Yes.
Yori, with due respect, when last year we discussed this issue several times, and if you record those days, I say so, this direct and indirect primaries on that electoral bill want to knock the work the National Assembly have done. That thing was mischief to myself. I won't tell you why it's mischief. Why? Because people who doesn't want transmission of results put into direct and indirect. Yori, are we dealing with primaries to people? We should give ourselves some credit. Nigeria matured. Either it's direct or indirect, let the party choose. That's by the way. But Yori, I want to disagree with Senator, if you listen to me, that they have an authentic register in APC. Let me disagree with him with facts. Remember last time, a few months ago in Anambra State, Ajibola came with about 200 or 250 or 300 votes by primary election. According to them, that he has 300 votes that makes him the candidate of APC. But Yori, in main election, the whole electorate is not the 300,000 that came for that voting. So where did Andy got his 250 to 300,000 votes in his party? And in main election, they did not come out to vote. There is no party in Nigeria that have authentic register. It's just a flux. So what I'm trying to say here,
sorry, Reverend Dominic, are you contradicting the senator who stated that his party does have APC?
And sometimes it's not true. And now the election put him wrong. And you have 250 to 200,000 people who voted for him in primary.
Okay, wait a minute, Reverend. Wait a minute, Reverend. The senator must react. You have directly contradicted the senator, and he was smiling, but I think he still wants to react.
So where is Andrew about his phone numbers?
Okay.
Let me answer me, please, if you can.
Oh, okay. All right, Reverend. Thank you, Senator. The man says he knows something about it too, and he can say that there's no party in this country that has, an accurate and complete register.
Yori, I can only laugh at him, because I just like me telling you, Yori, that your organization, you don't have what you said you have. It's not a member of my party, and I told you I not only have register of political party, member of my political party, we have their phone number, and they have means of identification.
I'm not sure if he's a member, but I can't say he's a supporter of APC. I don't know if that is the same as having membership.
Yori challenge me. I will send the register of my member of my party, my word to you. So it's just not enough for you to come here and be surmising what is not. We have register of member of APC. If it's not a member of my party, you cannot know. I have slip. Upon what basis do you generate membership slip if you don't say there's no register? Please, on this matter, let him say what he knows, and I'm saying what I know. Okay. I know we have register of member of our party, we have membership slip of our party, and if you want to contest an election in our party, you are required in the nomination form to use 3 members of the party in each of the constituency to support your nomination, and they will put their membership nomination number there. Okay. This is serious. Okay. I don't have our own job is politics. Maybe he has other job that he does, but on this politics matter, on question of membership of party, we have register of our member, we know our member, and we have a way of
Senator. But I think you concede that, as a friend of ours in the House likes to put it, Chima Naji, who is also a lawyer, he says he's a professional in politics. In other words, politics is not his job. But you've just stood that on its head and saying that, look, I don't have any other job. Politics is my job.
It's my job. It's my job. Politics is my job.
Okay, for now. Okay, Bernard in Enugu, thank you for calling back. Good morning in Enugu.
Good morning. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Today is very, very interesting. Good morning to the not participants in the studio.
Indeed.
Good morning.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
I think an issue. That direct and indirect family was not on this bill as an issue. So after some time, and I'm seeing it as a distraction, because the party in Nigeria, we are in the grassroots, and defeated that direct primary, that electoral. The day you have it, PDP will go, APC will go. So there's no clear cut through if a member of APC, a member of PDP. The same people will see within the APC. You will see them. What they need is number. So I think in this bill, they should not talk of this mode. The mode they have been doing it, parties should decide what they want. They have been doing it before. So another thing, consensus on democracy. Consensus on democracy. And that is what's appropriate in political parties. So what they should have allowed them indirect and direct. Consensus is not there. So I want to ask the Senator a question. Please, you're talking about this bill that will eradicate overvoting. How is this bill eradicate overvoting? That's my question. Thank you very much.
Okay, I heard. But Senator, let me ask you, what does the law say? How long does the president have to, respond or to sign into law? After which there are other, possible, maybe should I call them rabbit holes you can go down? But how long does the president have to come back on this whole matter?
I think 30 days.
The president has 30 days to come back on whether he gives assent to the bill or not. 30 days. But I think there's a need to clarify even the provision on consensus. What the amendment that was given consensus is that before there can be consensus, all clear aspirants must in writing agree to the consensus and agree to the particular aspirants that they are agreeing should be the consensus candidates. And the provision clearly provides that where there is no such written agreement, then the party will revert back to either direct or indirect primary. And even when the consensus as a requirement for consensus has been complied with by written a withdrawal of all other cleared aspirants, there must be a special congress or convention at the national, state, senatorial, federal constituency or House of Assembly constituency level for there to be recognition. And we strengthen that provision to say that any political party that has not complied with the requirement of nomination, INEC should reject the nominee of such political party. Okay. And I think that will clear doubt as to authentication of the process that has gone to emergence of candidates for our elections. All
right. Ada in Jos. Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, Ada in Jos, Plateau State. Good morning, Mr. And your guest. Please, I want to say here that whether it has been transmitted or forwarded or sent, I don't mind the semantics. All I know is that I'm happy that it has been the NASS they have now sent this Mr. President. They returned it to him to assent to. So I'm using permit me use your medium to assent to Mr. President to get it signed into law to enable INEC conduct a more credible election. So many things there. This consensus and what have you, the method of this is not the issue. It's the drivers of the process. Look at what happened in Ekiti. What happened after the one they said they wanted to use? Didn't you see what happened? So now what I'm trying to say here is that if he signs into law, at least all these BVAS, the technological devices will have some legal backing. But if there's any problem with the outcome of the election, people can go to court. That was what happened in 2019. That's why PDP lost out. Some of these things did not have any legal backing. So I don't know. So we have come of age now to do things the right way. So, Mr. President, please, I'm appealing to you, leave a legacy. Leave a legacy. This thing, it shouldn't take more than 1 week to get assent to it, and we'll give you a round of applause. I think that's something you can bequeath to us. At least we'll be protected. Women, everybody will be protected. People, anybody who commits an electoral offense will be punished if it's implemented to the letter. There's so many beautiful things in that particular Electoral Act Amendment Bill. So we cannot throw away the baby with the bathwater. So I don't want to. I just take it that.
All right, then, Ada, thank you very much. And our time is fast spent. Senator Bashiru in Abuja, thank you very much for making time for us this morning. Did you have any last word? Because you've been quite clear to us. Any last word? Because we're good to go.
I think it's just that we should keep, waiting. And I also want to say that the National Assembly will be rounding up its work on the amendment of constitution this weekend. So hopefully by next week we'll be able to brief the world as to what is being done in terms of amending the constitution, and we hope to round up the exercise before March this year, so that there can be ample opportunity for any necessary constitutional amendment that may impact on the 2023 election to be put into use.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ajibola Bashiru, Senator representing Osun Central, spokesman of the Nigerian Senate, former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Osun State. Thank you very much. So, really, 30 days. The President must act, will act within 30 days. And you're in total agreement with where we're at. So, for the time being, we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, the President have made it clear. He said, look, go and do this, bring it back to me, I will assent to it.
Indeed.
So, and I want to take him by his word as it concerns that. I know the President will definitely assent to this within the next 20 days.
And we'll be able to make progress.
And we'll be able to make progress.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smart Oluwole-Apejoye, Political Affairs Analyst. And that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.